To exhibit strength in the face of pain, grief, or fear is courage. How do we invoke our courage when we feel too afraid to speak up or to show up? Well, let's look at Dana's example. Dana is a young and vibrant lady who is loved and respected by her friends and family. She's the friend you call when you're stranded on the side of the road or when you need a safe ride home from the bar. I bet you are either this type of person or you have one friend who is, right? Now, over the last few years, Dana had slowly racked up credit card debt. Now, she had been debt-free for years prior, but when life threw her some tough curveballs, she buckled under the stress. Dana found herself spending beyond her means. She was consciously unaware of the why behind this action. Have you ever had that rush of good feelings when you buy that new car, phone, or clothing? It can feel so good to get that new thing. The thing we think will show our identity to others in a light that will get us respect, adoration, affection, attention, or love. We may not know it, but what we are really seeking is a good feeling of worthiness or security because at that moment we feel insecure. And we may put ourselves in financial harm so that we can get a temporary hit of happiness, also known as dopamine. Now, if you can relate to this, please say I. I know, I do. I have been there myself. And that is exactly what Dana was experiencing within herself, and no one knew it, not even her partner. She felt such personal shame that she kept this secret until the day she couldn't anymore, because the debt had become too painful. Her credit limits were reached. This is the day she confided in me. Now, Dana expressed to me how heavy this has been to carry day in and day out, and how badly this secret was affecting her relationship with her partner. She was snapping at him more, not sleeping, not eating well, and in an overall state of unhappiness. And what's worse is Dana's inner critic was beating up on her daily with statements like, "You are a loser. They will be so disappointed in you. You know better than this. You are so dumb. You'll be poor forever." Can you imagine how painful that must have been? I mean, those words played in her mind like a broken record. The more she allowed it to play, the more she gave in and listened, agreed, and practiced those lies, those thoughts, until they became beliefs she held about herself and her situation. That self-flagellation killed her spark for life. It stifled her strength to speak from the heart, to be honest with herself and her partner. She couldn't afford to take that trip to Italy with her love, and she would need to tell him why soon. How was she going to gather the strength needed to speak up and admit her problem? Curiosity. Note that word. Through my curious and open-minded and deep questioning of her, she discovered some painful memories as a child that she had consciously forgotten about. You see, she grew up very poor, and her mom taught her to have a poor mindset about money and those that are rich. You could say she had an unhealthy relationship with money as a result, but she didn't know this until she confided in me. Those harmful beliefs about her abilities and money created tension or resistance between her two minds, the conscious and subconscious. And in bringing all of this and more to her conscious mind, she was able to reframe those memories and beliefs. In extracting vital life lessons from the past, she began to create a new, healthier narrative and beliefs that served her in a much better way. Now, I could see the relief and sense of hope come over her in that moment. She realized she could finally be free of the shame and debt. She began to imagine different scenarios as to how she might want to change, and she found reasons to have faith in herself. Dana began to find evidence from the successes she's had in overcoming past challenges, especially financial hardships. And she realized that she is fully capable of overcoming this too. However, she knew she would need the support and guidance of her partner. I feel happy to tell you, friends, that Dana went home that day after invoking her inner courage, and she had a hard conversation with her partner. She did it even though she was afraid that he would criticize her, or worse, leave her. Instead, he embraced her with compassion, and together they designed a 12-month plan to get her out of debt and onto that plane to Italy. Now, Dana worked 2 jobs for about 1 year. She followed the plan to the detail, and not only is she still debt-free years later, but she and her partner enjoyed weeks traveling all over Italy. They had the time of their lives. Okay, so did you capture some important points through Dana's example? What was it that suppressed her courage? Fear. Her fears felt so real, and it voiced such nasty words to her that she became mentally and emotionally weakened. The fear took over and controlled her. She lived in it daily. It was only when she stopped and called it out, named the fear and those beliefs, that she was able to get curious and question them in the light of her conscious mind. Now, from there, she was able to reframe the beliefs with compassion. And this then opened the door for her to release that inner strength she had all along. The courage she needed was within her. She just couldn't see it or feel it while she focused on the fear and sadness. The fear was too big to see around, so she had to use visualization and the Cole technique to temper those fears while transforming that negative self-talk into optimistic speech. When she trusted her own courage, she was rewarded in kind from her partner. Will we always be immediately rewarded when we display the courage to be ourselves or to speak the truth? Well, yes and no, depending on your personal values and standards for yourself or lack thereof. If we tell someone we love them and they don't feel the same, we can still feel good about taking the risk of rejection because we were courageous. You see, the Latin root of the word courage means to speak one's mind by telling all one's heart. How beautiful is that? If one of our values was to be honest or courageous, then we would feel fulfilled in the situation regardless of the outcome, because you see, we don't need the outcome in order to feel good or strong. We go into the circumstance already feeling strong because we are. What we need exists within us, and it never gets lost. It's that we become blind or disempowered. The more we practice courage, the more confident we become in ourselves, in our ability to navigate any hardships. This in turn builds our inner strength. So then, what are the principles to invoking our courage? The first is honesty. Being honest with ourselves gives us freedom. Second, curiosity. Be curious with yourself rather than flagellating or beating yourself up. All that does is cause more pain and stress. You'll not create a great solution from this state. Lastly, beliefs. Humans act or don't through beliefs. Until Dana upgraded her beliefs, she wouldn't have had the courage to change her situation. Our beliefs can either strengthen or weaken us. We get to choose. How will you choose to invoke your inner courage today? I'm Shel Clark, your coach and a champion for the people. Remember to live it, be it, inspire. Live a legend, my friend.